All right, hello everybody. Welcome back. It is another Yoga Mat Virtuoso yoga class review. On this channel, what I do is watch YouTube videos on yoga classes, and I review them. And I don't mean like a review, like a film reviewer or like a book review. I'm thinking of this more as like peer review. So I try to be helpful. I try to give constructive feedback, give options for ways that a class could have been approached. I try to point out things that I feel are, what's the word? It's like yoga teacherisms, things that yoga teachers say that don't actually make very much sense. Today, I'm reviewing a video by a yoga teacher named, oh, what is his name? His company is called Manflow Yoga. So that's a little something, isn't it? Pohlman, Dean Pohlman's the guy's name. So it's Dean Pohlman's yoga class that we're reviewing, and it is basically like yoga for beginners, man yoga for beginners. It's funny though, um,
Man, if you are
always dudes that look like this, isn't it? It's always dudes that look like that. Kudos on the chest hair though. That looks cool. I like that. I see a lot of heavily waxed men these days, and no shade. Do whatever you want. It's your hair. Do with your hair whatever you choose to do. But I like the natural look. I like that '70s kind of throwback. Anyway, Man Flow Yoga, Dean Pohlman. Let's just check him out. Let's check him out and see what this is all about here.
new to yoga, if you are inflexible, if you're concerned about not being able to keep up with other yoga classes, this is the workout for you. This is made for somebody who's
Gonna stop you right there, Dean. I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about that this is a workout for you. Is yoga a workout? Well, you know what? I did a little bit of research. I haven't watched the video yet. I don't know what this video is going to be like, but I did look up Pohlman here and Manflow Yoga. And one of the things he's into is that, like, he took yoga classes and he found it to be too spiritual. He didn't like that. He wanted it just to be like an exercise, just a workout. I don't know. I thought that's what Pilates was for. No?
brand new to yoga. You don't have to have any flexibility. You don't have to know any of the yoga poses. You'll just do your best, follow along, and by the end of this routine, you'll have some basic understanding of yoga poses. You'll know the modifications, or if you're newer and flexible, and your body is going to feel a lot better. Let's get started.
It's not just being new or being inflexible that might require modifications, hey? There's a whole host of reasons why you might choose to modify a posture. Also, something that Sarah and I talk about from time to time is this idea that there's like the actual pose and then the modified pose. You got the pose and then the modified pose down here. Modification is something different, right? Something unusual. So it's like a twist that you put on the posture. And one of the things that I should say, Sarah's my wife. She's also a yoga teacher. She's a yoga therapist. And anyway, one of the things that Sarah says that I always find really interesting is she believes that there are no modifications. It's all modification, 100% modification. You can't do exactly what your teacher does. Just by virtue of having a different body than them, you have already modified the posture. So we don't need to say modification. What a better thing might be to say variation. And there are infinite variations. And we are all going to be practicing variations of these postures, not modifications. Huh? Am I being picky? Yeah.
Do your best.
Do your best.
Our first yoga pose is called a low lunge. So we're going to have your right leg forward, take a step back with your left foot, and slowly release your left knee to
I would have done something. Maybe this is intentional to sort of avoid the spiritual part, but I would have done something to open the class. Teach mountain pose, for example. Like what were you doing? He said we're going to start with this low lunge. Boom, he just steps back. I was like, "Whoa, slow down there, Tex." You know what I mean? Buy me dinner first.
The ground. You can start with your hips above your back knee. You want to have your
He says hips above the back knee. Are his hips above his back knee? Motorcycle just drove by. His hips aren't above his back knee.
lower back neutral,
So why say that if you're not going to do it? I don't understand.
meaning you don't want it arched, you don't want it rounded, but right wherever is natural.
Neutral might not be natural. Your natural state, the way your body naturally is, may be a flattened lumbar spine, right? So that's a it's a tricky instruction to say put your lower back neutral, make it natural. Like what natural for who?
Push down through your front foot like you're going to stand up. So you're active through this front foot, the
Sure.
toes, your heel, the ball mound of your foot
Look at that calf. Oh,
is pushing into the ground. And then I want you to squeeze your hip muscles, squeeze your thigh muscles, and then keeping your spine neutral, not letting your back arch, not letting it round. Lean your hips forward until you feel a stretch through the front of your left hip.
yeah,
Squeeze your left glute.
sure.
That's going to help you not only work into your flexibility, but also build strength in your hips.
I mean, to be fair, we're not going to build that much strength just by squeezing your butt cheeks. If that was the case, people who are nervous would be so fit.
Keep pushing down through that front foot, and then lift your
I bet, it's almost Halloween. You know what I mean? Been watching scary movies, just working on my fitness. I got, I got credit card debt. My butt's in such good shape.
your arms overhead. You can bring your arms down to goalpost arms if that feels more comfortable. Then
Goalpost. That's new. I always thought of that as a cactus instead of a goalpost. He's taking a sort of a sports angle here.
extending your arms straight up. And then from here, breathe in and out of your nose. Keep that up at your own pace. For most of these poses, you want to hold them for at least 30 seconds, and then 45 or 60 seconds is better. You can hold it for that 45, 60-second mark. That's going to give your body enough time to work into the flexibility. It's going to give your body a bit more time to become accustomed to the pose, so you learn it. And you're also going to feel the results more at the end of the workout.
I actually quite like that. I think that's a solid instruction.
So that same way that you came into it, we'll do that again.
I didn't like the way he got out of that pose, though. He just sort of randomly stood up. What, like he just sort of, it was like now it's done.
Again, so now left leg is forward. Big step back with your right foot.
I have to think that this is conscious, that he's intentionally not using mountain pose and not using transitions very effectively as a way to set his brand, his man flow apart. I'm gonna be really I'm gonna be straight with you. This is like a slightly inappropriate. I can't hear man flow and not think like a man menstruating. Man flow, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's that time of month. I got my man flow. I would have thought twice about the name of that brand. I'm not. He seems like a nice guy, but just as a name, I'm just man flow. I don't know. It makes me a little uncomfortable.
And if you want, you can place a pad underneath this knee if you don't have a pad. Obviously, you're brand new to yoga. You probably don't have all the equipment yet. You can just put a sweatshirt or something underneath your knee.
Hell yeah, brother. On that, get a sweatshirt underneath your knee. I love that. Why didn't you do that on the first side? Why? Well, you holding out on me? Make me wait?
So we're starting.
Did he want me to suffer on the first side? Is that it? And then the second side just sort of feels nicer because you got some padding underneath there.
Again with your hips neutral. So everything is squared forward. Your low back is neutral. We're not arching the back. We're not rounding the back. We're just letting it be at its neutral position. And then allowing your hips to come forward a little bit until you feel that stretch. Now through the front of your right hip, you're stretching your hip flexors here. If you sit a lot, this is going to be a really, really good one for you.
All good.
And we want to be active through your body. So passive stretching is good for relieving discomfort temporarily, but it doesn't build lasting strength or flexibility. So if you can squeeze your thighs, if you can squeeze your hip muscles, that's going to help create more lasting change.
Yeah.
If you can squeeze your right glute here, so squeezing your right buttocks, that's going to help you stretch through your right hip flexors. Bring your arms up. And whatever you feel comfortable with your arms.
Pretty sure this guy has a background in kinesiology. I didn't get that far. I didn't do that deep of a dive, but I'm going to guess there's some kind of it's not physiotherapy, but yeah, just some kinesiology courses that he's taken just by the way he talks. Anatomically, these are great instructions.
So if you can reach your arms straight up overhead and you don't feel tension through your neck, then you can do that. You can also bring your arms out into a Y. And I really like goalpost arms because this helps with posture. This helps with a little bit more upper back strength. And then we always come back to that breathing. Slow breathing, slow and controlled in and out of your nose. And if you're, kind of overwhelmed by all the stuff that I'm giving you right now, that's normal. It's a lot to take in.
I don't
You're
think
not going to
that
get
much.
it all perfectly the first time. The important thing is to be consistent, and then over time, your body, your brain.
He might be overestimating how much information he's giving. I feel like everybody can handle this level of information so far. Like, we're good, man.
Controlled in.
He's mansplaining right now. He should call it mansplain yoga instead of manflow.
And over time, that all just starts to kind of add up, and it'll become automatic. But we've got to be consistent in order to get there.
Totally
All right,
agree.
go ahead and relax. From here, we're going to go up into a standing position. So this is where I'm going to have you grab a strap if you have one. If you don't have a strap, totally fine. You could use wrist straps. You could use a belt. You can use a dog leash. You can use a T-shirt. Anything that's just going to allow you to hold.
The way he not only uses props, but the way he offers options for props, 10 out of 10, bro. That is right up my alley. This dude is speaking my language when it comes to props. He's speaking my love language. Between his prop usage and that hairy chest, I'm all in. You got me now, man.
Your hands at about shoulder width distant. Stand with your feet about 6 inches apart. If you're a bigger guy, I find that helps with your stance. If it's comfortable enough, you can bring your feet together like this. Then we're going to bring your arms overhead.
I'm a little confused, though, about why 6 inches is a good distance for your feet to be apart. But then if it felt okay, you could have your feet together. Like, which one and why? For somebody who's given really good instructions so far, that was a bit of a slip. I'm unclear as a student. What is there an advantage? Do I want my feet together? Is feet together more advanced? I'm not sure.
Holding that strap, lightly pull in opposing directions. So like you're pulling that strap apart. Bring your arms back as far as you can. Make sure that you're not shrugging your shoulders up near the ears and kind of, creating this extra tension in the neck. See if you can relax the shoulders a little bit. Move your head freely.
At least he didn't say shoulders back and down.
And take a deep breath in. Get as tall as you can. Lift your arms up. And then from here, lean toward your right with your arms. Let your hips press a little bit to the left. As you're doing this, you want to keep your legs
turn around,
straight.
man. We can't see.
So don't let one leg bend and the other one stay straight, but keep them both straight. And instead of falling into the pose, I want you to get your body as long as possible. So think about pushing your head up, pushing your arms up, and then you can lean a little bit further as you exhale.
Those are good instructions. That, like, not collapsing, watching what the knees are doing. That's pretty good.
And a good tip to keep in mind for this pose, as well as all of the poses that you do, you should be able to control your breathing. in the poses. So if you're going so far that you notice your breathing gets difficult, then I would come back a little bit. Don't go as deep as you were.
So let's just take a quick little pause here because he said something and it happened fast. I don't know if you caught it. He said in these postures you should be able to control your breathing. Now let's think about that for a second. Do you want actually to control your breathing in the postures? Or do you want to have a free and natural relaxed breath? Well, if you're doing some pranayama, like a breathing exercise, there are instances where you do control your breath. But for the most part, I don't think we're looking necessarily for control of the breath, are we? Right? We're looking. We don't want to hold the breath. We want to make sure we are breathing. But some of the best instructions are probably less about control of the breath, inhale now, exhale now, that kind of thing, and more about relaxing your breath and making sure your breath is moving in a way that feels good and comfortable and natural. So, I mean, I know what he meant when he said that, but the choice of words influences what the student hears, and as a result, what the student does. And so, typically, you tell somebody control your breath. You know what you're gonna get is that like tight, restrictive ujjayi breath that you get in Ashtanga classes. That like. Now, most people are already plenty uptight. They don't really need that boost of anxiety, right? So, yeah, that's a funny one. That's worth pointing out. That one is.
The more that you can stay in control and stay relaxed, the more flexible you will become. If you go straight to where it's uncomfortable, you can't breathe, you're not going to increase flexibility or really notice the results of the stretching. Go ahead and bring it back to the middle. Let's give your arms a little break.
That's nice. A little shake
It's difficult to hold your arms overhead for that long.
It is.
And then arms back overhead. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. Once again, it helps to kind of pull the strap in opposing directions.
A little
big
camera
breath
angle
in.
change
Get as
there.
tall as you can. And then lean toward your left. Press your hips toward the right. Keep your legs straight. And the goal here...
Why do so many dudes want to do yoga with their shirt off all the time?
...is to feel the stretch through the right shoulder. So
this is just me, but like, maybe I'm overly sensitive on this topic. I'm not opposed to having my shirt off. I actually quite like it in the summertime. Feels great. In a yoga class, though, sometimes I feel like because women in class don't feel comfortable doing yoga without a shirt on, the women are always, they cover their boobs up. So because of that, I feel like sort of in solidarity, I should also cover my boobs up. Huh? Maybe until we have achieved a world where we can all be topless. Maybe we should not go topless, even if you can't. You know what I mean? It's kind of like being a bodhisattva of toplessness.
Kind of all around the armpit. We're going to feel some stretching through the outer right hip. And you should also feel your muscles working in your upper back. If you don't, try squeezing your arms back a little bit further. And if you're having difficulty with the arms overhead, bend your elbows a little bit, and that's going to release a bit of neck tension. Our goal here is to get a nice...
That's good instruction. I like that little variation you gave there.
Feet all the way up through the tips of your fingers, through your head, but then also feeling strong as you bend into this. So we want to stay strong. We want to work on our flexibility. We don't want to go too far into flexibility where there's no strength. We also don't want to just be strong with no increased range of motion. So we're trying...
I'm loving these instructions. Super good. Top notch.
With control. But we also feel like we're pushing ourselves a little bit. And the more you do this, the more consistent you are, the easier it will get. 3 times per week is a great way to start out.
Also great
All right, go ahead and
advice.
bring it back to the middle. Quick 10-second break here, guys. I hope you're enjoying the workout. If you are and you're looking for more, I have a free 7-day beginner's yoga for men challenge. You can.
Everybody always has a 7-day challenge or a 14-day challenge or whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody always has that. I don't really get it. Always with the challenge. Maybe people just love the 7-day challenge or the 21-day challenge. Maybe that's it.
Whatever you have nearby.
Maybe I should have a challenge.
Idea. So I'm going to stand on my right foot to start.
Let me know in the comments if you want me to have a challenge.
And then I'm just going to lift my left foot off the ground, just kind of like you see me doing here. And if possible, bring your left knee up to the hip. Press down through your right foot as hard as you can. And if you notice when I do that, you might kind of see my right hip push down a little bit. My left hip kind of hikes up.
Yeah.
And as you do that, you're going to feel your right glute, your right buttocks engage.
This is what I'm talking about this guy, I think, having some kind of a background in kinesiology. That's really good instruction. Either that or, I'm not quite sure, I haven't looked in to see if he has a background in Iyengar yoga. I think he might be in Iyengar. He might have had Iyengar teachers. I'm going to check him out.
You feel those muscles working. We've got something on our right side to help balance. So again, I've got a wall right here that I can lean against for support. To also help with balance, you're going to look at a non-moving point at eye level. So find a specific place on the wall and stare at that spot. We're also breathing in and out of the nose here. And that's going to help our body stay in control. Another big benefit of doing yoga, one reason you might have been drawn to it, is for stress relief.
I just looked it up. He actually started in Bikram yoga. It's interesting that he has a background in Bikram, because Bikram is not known for great instructions at all. He must have, there's no way, like he must have finished up with Bikram and then went on to find an Iyengar teacher or something. Like it has to be.
It's for improving your focus. It's for increasing your overall sense of calm. And when you practice this in your yoga workout, it carries over into the rest of your life. So when you're driving, when you're at work, when you're with your family, you're more calm, more controlled. And that's what we get when we practice this stuff on a regular basis.
He's working on balance and stuff here. It's cool. I'm not quite sure sequencing wise what's going on. I'm going to talk about the sequence at the end of the video because I have notes.
And for balance, and also feeling, some strength building as you're holding this pose in the legs. All right, go ahead and relax. Let's switch sides. So same thing. Now the left foot, standing on the left foot, we're going to have something to the left of us to help balance. The reason for that is so that we can strengthen the hips. If we're standing on the left foot and we lean to the right, we're not going to strengthen the hips.
Super duper good. Like I'm saying, that's good material.
And then from here, bring your right knee up to hip level, or you can start by just hovering the foot if you want.
Like I'm kind of making fun of the guy, but if we're being real, a lot of these instructions are really good, like technically sound, anatomically, biomechanically sound. A lot of really good instructions. I noticed something I'm going to talk about at the end of the video too. I noticed something that he hasn't mentioned that I think he should.
Do here. So keep your left leg straight. Keep your shoulders, your hips above your standing heel. And then try to think good posture here. So the shoulders pull down and back, pulling the shoulder blades toward one another.
There's the back and down.
Relaxing my chin in toward my throat.
It's like yoga teachers can't help themselves. They have to say shoulders back and down. It's like you're not allowed to not say it. It's so weird. You don't have to say it.
Which is really normal. Then just remember to breathe. And again, there's a lot going on here. I know that I'm giving you a lot of instruction, but this is what we need to integrate in order to really get the benefits, the maximum benefits of these poses, the technique, the breathing.
It's a cool thing to say, but I mean, there's
You're
not
going to
that
get it
much
the first time. It's something that we have to practice. So keep doing this. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on these videos.
Yeah.
And be consistent 3 times per week. That's going to help tremendously.
Yes.
All right, and then release that foot. Nice job. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this workout.
Nice job again. Always with this like fake praise. We don't need it.
Be sure to like the video, leave a comment if you have some feedback or
I'll like
question,
the video.
and subscribe so you don't miss out on future
flow.
videos. We've got more of these complete
You
beginners
should call it man
videos
bun
coming
yoga.
out.
You should call it man bun. All the teachers have man buns. Man bun yoga. That's what I'm into. Okay, look, on a couple things in terms of the cues. Like I said, this is really nice material in here. Kinesiologically, biomechanically informed, and well done. It's good. It's really good. One thing that I feel there's a lot of talk of squeezing muscles in your back. When he had the strap up overhead, he was like, push your arms back. He had that, what do you call, goalpost arms, that one, squeezing the arms back. And when he was doing the standing balance, he was into, whatever, shoulders back and down, that thing. And a cue that would have gone a long way there is something that he was doing but not saying. Okay, he was doing it but not saying it. And I'm going to see if I can find a moment for you where you can actually sort of see it more clearly. Yeah, it's hard to see it. I'm going to try to find a shot from there. Okay, let me look. You take a look here. When you push your arms back in a posture like this, if your shoulders are tight here, what's going to happen is instead of the shoulder moving back, the whole rib cage is going to start jutting towards the front. Do you see this angle here where the ribs start to jut forward? So the ribs are kind of sliding towards the front as the hands push. The top of the rib cage gets pushed back. The bottom of the rib cage gets pushed forward. Now, what he's doing, and I can see it, he's engaging his abs here to prevent that from happening more. Now, I don't know whether he's engaging his abs to prevent his lower ribs from popping forward, or is he engaging his abs because his shirt is off and he wants to look better. I'm not sure. But it's something that he's doing but not instructing. And then at other times, there's stuff that he is instructing but not doing. And that was that moment at the start of the sequence when he was doing that lunge and he said, make sure your knee is underneath your hip. His knee was not underneath his hip. So the auditory cue, what I hear, and the visual cue, what I see, are not jiving with one another. And when they don't jive with one another, as a student, I have a moment where I'm like, wait, which one though? Which one should I do? So that's interesting. That's something to watch for. Make sure that your visual and your auditory cues line up. They match with one another. In terms of a sequence, no, nothing. Just not bam. All of a sudden we're in a lunge. I mean, like I said, buy me a drink. Mountain pose, maybe a little breathing, little awareness. He already said he doesn't like spirituality in the website, so I get it. He wants to just sort of get right into it. But a little loosen up maybe would have been a good idea. So he goes from this lunge. There's the hip opener, right? Then he goes to standing shoulder stretch with the strap up overhead. Reminds me of something I saw in Eric Schiffman's book. If you've ever seen that, it's called The Spirit and Practice of Moving into Stillness by Eric Schiffman. Ooh. So Eric Schiffman's thing with the strap is bigger. There's more to it. There's more steps to it, and I really quite like that. His strap thing overhead was similar to that. And so we have a thing for the hips, a thing for the shoulders. He does a little side bend thing, and then a standing balance. That's it. The hips maybe could use a bit more work. If we're doing a quick little hip opener, maybe like a little lunge for the front and then a quick little like a hamstring or a glute stretch for the back for balance. If we are wanting to get that hip opening action from the low lunge, you're kind of undoing it by doing the standing balance that he did, right? So we have we have issues sometimes with these sequencing things where it's almost like you're kind of undoing the stuff that you did. You did a lunge to stretch the hip flexors, and then you get someone to stand there with their foot up in the air for quite honestly, for quite a long time. That's actually tightening the hip flexors again. So it kind of undoes itself. I don't know that at the end of this practice you're going to feel like much different. There was a little opening in the hip flexor, a little side stretch. That was nice. The stuff that I think is probably taken from Eric Schiffman. And then you have this kind of tree pose, but it's not tree. And then also a kind of what they call Uttita Hasta Parangustasana, extended hand to big toe pose, but with the knee bent. And that, with the way he teaches that, it's almost like like I said, it negates or counteracts whatever opening in your hip flexor you would have had from the lunge. And then give me a little something at the end, right? It's just like you put your foot down after standing on one foot, and we're like, all right, bye. Hope you had a nice time. That's it. You know what I mean? Give me back in the mountain pose. Give me a little relaxation. Just give me a little something. You know, men, I know this is going to be shocking for a lot of people, especially Joe Rogan fans. Men need to relax too, right? Men, that's a part of yoga that's important. And I think that it doesn't make any sense to exclude or throw out a lot of the more philosophical, or what you might call spiritual, components of yoga, on the basis of the fact that like you want sort of the workout part. Well, go get the workout part. I have no issue with the workout part at all. That's cool. I like it. But let's not neglect everything else that yoga can bring, and maybe we can find a way to integrate that into a man beginner friendly yoga package. I think that's possible. Anyway, would love to get your feedback on the video. I would love to see some likes and some comments and some new subscribers. If you are a yoga teacher or just a yoga nerd, if you're just sort of really into yoga, or if you are thinking about becoming a yoga teacher, or you're in teacher training, I feel like these videos might be quite helpful for you. So if they are, share them with your friends, share them with other yoga teachers at your local yoga studio or at your gym. Again, my name's Colin Hall, and I would love to hear from you. So let me know if you liked the video down in the comments there. That'd be wicked. Until next time, take it easy, virtuosos, and I'm out.